the machine will go on, the show must go on, and you know, if you know, this is a little silly theory, but say the communists wanted to take over Philadelphia, that's in a way, oh, that's for my own, sorry, I dropped my own, in a way that could in fact kind of be going on, albeit I don't know how successful. In the end, like, someone still has to be the boss in the sky, someone still has to run all the businesses. Like, remember that thing in Seattle? Was it Seattle or Portland? Seattle. And they had the big, like, kind of coup where a whole bunch of people took over downtown Seattle. And they decided, sort of as an experiment, they're like, all right, if they want to take over Seattle, we'll just close up, we will just, you know, rope it off, and people can go from there. And guess what? No one knew what to do. And all of a sudden there's this realization, like, you have this idea, like, oh, let's just take over. And then what? Like, you have to have a plan. There's a whole system in place, and people, you know, work in certain capacities, and they learn, like, oh, okay, in this capacity, this is how we control this. And there's too much of a structure. There's too much of an infrastructure. There's too much of a system. So it's not like you can be a protester and just take over, because the civilization would disintegrate. And everybody loves at least a roof over their head, creature comforts, but also people would just get bored. It's hard to explain, like, what do you do? So eventually that fizzled out and people went home because they didn't want to keep tents in downtown Seattle. The sad part is it could seem like a mockery of protesters who were trying to fight the man. I totally get that. Being someone who, you know, was dwindled down into a certain capacity and never really could figure out how to work with the man or live in the man's system, if you will. So anyway, I'm here on Warnock, and oddly, I used to take care of a dog that lived here. They've since moved to DC, and by now that dog's probably deceased. Also, across the street from where I took care of that dog, and one of these, it's like either that one or that one, I forget. I don't know if they still own it, but oddly, a guy who's the son of a man who was in my mom and dad's wedding party in 1962. I didn't know this at the time. He lived there with his partner. I, by coincidence and small worldness, met his partner through volunteering with something called the Sapphire Fund. They no longer have the Sapphire Fund, but it was something to participate in. I kept trying, you know, wanting to build my community, if you will, or of peers and stuff like that. So I volunteered with something called the Sapphire Fund. And this was through William Way. And while there, I met, you know, a bunch of people who were sort of volunteering with the same group. And one of them happened to be the partner of a guy who, how crazy is this, is the son of, and I, you know, of a guy who was in my mom and dad's wedding party. The guy met my, or the guy in my mom and dad's wedding party worked for Wilmington Trust, but then he moved on to become an anesthetist or anesthesiologist or something in that realm. And so I think everyone lost touch. You know, my parents wound up divorced also, so over, you know, after 10 years of marriage, 10-ish, 10, 11-ish. And anyway, lo and behold, his son shows up here. He's a lawyer. They, you know, I think he works for firms that deal with class action suits against dangerous weight loss industries, you know, with pills or bad pharmaceutical products. In a way, I'm on his side, other than the fact that I feel like I wound up pulled into a world and they happen to be part of it. Warnock, when I was walking a dog there, taking care of a dog, in fact, the guy, his name's Matt, the owner of the dog, went away one weekend, and he didn't need me to stay overnight with his dog, Emmy, or Ems, a Weimaraner. And I came over one night to do the bedtime walk before bedtime, and there was a mega fire in what was a medical fraternity house. We're about to approach it. This is Warnock here, the cross street. Now it's property management apartments for rent, and they tried to fix it up a little. This edifice building here had a major mega fire. The house goes way back. It takes up like half the block, a little bit more, like 3/4 of the block. I actually took Em's home with me, the Weimaraner, because I was worried that the fire would jump to the house. And it's like, and also all the noise and everything, it's like I didn't want her all upset all night long because they had to deal with this fire. There were people lined up all over the place. It was quite a show. I didn't know it was a medical fraternity at the time. I would find out later in the news. But when I picked up Emma for a walk, I could hear people banging on the back door. And I was like, should I call? Like, I can't tell if smoke was billowing out all over the place. So I called because it's like, should I call? There's a fire here and people are banging on the door seemingly to get out. So I was like, I'll call. And sure enough, the guy who's the son of the man who was in my mom and dad's wedding party, he was on the street and he's like, did you call? And I was like, I called because I couldn't tell if anybody else called, and someone's banging on the door. He's like, it's good you called. So anyway, but what I want to say here is, while I've been walking on certain grids or blocks, it's really easy for me to speak, and I can articulate and express what I want to express very easily. I had difficulty once I got to a street down there and walked behind Warnock, if you will, on the other side. I had difficulty keeping my train of thought and expressing myself. Do you think it has anything to do with grids, electrical setups, or what do you think it is? Because I lost my train of thought. Or did someone come into like radio wave airspace and all of a sudden I was distracted by all kinds of, noise, just like that woman at the coffee shop just now who needed to talk and speak extra loudly. And some people intentionally will walk around you, or when they see you pass by, they will work hard to pierce your train of thought, if you will. So the goal becomes, how can you overcome severe distractions? Some people even say pyrotechnics, this like fascinating art of fireworks. Even though we love it as a display for entertainment at 4th of July and so forth and so on, there are people, this is what I understand based on people I had to talk to because of how bad my case is. It's quieted down now, but still. There are people I've talked to who they quote unquote hide so much from regular civilization, all the muck down here on the street, the rest of us, the Festivus for the rest of us, and things like pyrotechnics, because it actually messes up your information system. It messes up the natural world. Even though it seems commonplace to have pyrotechnics, but it could be messing up your brain and your ability to express yourself and articulate in the best way possible. And we live upon being able to express our everything, our love, our concerns, anything. Traumatized people are so damaged by what these people do.